You pick 2 leaves at a bud, 2 leaves at a bud. At the same time, you remove these remains. And we are saying if you left these remains when they have not been plucked, what is going to happen is the productivity is going to decrease, isn't it? Yeah, so how do we pick it? So it is, we are going to be very swift in picking of this one. Yes. Okay.
Sisi ati sense temperature ni overheating, simu yenyewe inachoma. Ni temperature. Hata wale basically Mackenzie for the like whatever our YouTube video kuna majani hadi unapenda
on tea production, and of course tea has been grown in several areas in Kenya. This is a Othaya region, and also we have the tea production within this region. Now, we have been looking at the nursery practices, and we introduced by looking at the various practices that we carry out within the nursery bed. And then we talked of the types of nursery, the vegetable nurseries, the tree nurseries, and then we have the vegetative propagation nurseries. Now, when it comes to tea production, first of all, it begins with raising the vegetative. So we can raise the tea vegetatively. And when it comes to vegetative, of course, we use the sleeves, isn't it? And these are the sleeves. Of course, we have been looking at the polythene sleeves. And during the transplanting, how is it transplanted? Yeah? Unatengeneza shimo, mix the manure with the soil, and then you're going to plant at the same depth that it was, isn't it? Yeah. So and then you are going, of course, you are going to farm that soil. So if this was tea, we could have gotten the vegetative that is from the mother plant, and then of course we are going to put them in these leaves, and then once they have attained the period whereby we are going to transplant them, at the moment we can take them to the seed bed, right? The seed bed. So tea growing begins from this point. We get the materials from the mother plants, and then we are going to put them in the sleeves. Then we are going to be carrying out the management practices as expected, and then from there, once they have attained the proper stage of transplanting, then we can transplant them into the seed bed. So at this moment, we are going to proceed, that is the tea plantation, and then we are going to learn on the various ways on how we carry out tea production. We have come to the part of pruning. Pruning. What is pruning? They remind us what is pruning. No, not a call us. Somebody to remind us what is pruning. Yes, Kibe. Correct. It is the removal of excessive or unwanted parts of a plant. And in most occasions, we talk about the branches. Like if now you are pruning this tea, we could have removed these excess branches, isn't it? Yeah, so there is also pruning in tea. And the reason as to why we carry out pruning in tea. Remember, tea is also a tree. If it is going to be allowed to grow unchecked, it can be able to grow to become a very tall tree. But of course, we have what we call the plucking table. So, the plucking table. You have seen when the tea is being picked, those people are going to be picking it at a certain a certain height. That is what we call the plucking table. So the purpose for pruning in tea is to make a pruning or a plucking table. Now we have the two methods of pruning when it comes to tea. not two. We looked at the various methods of pruning. Which were those? One method of pruning. Yes. Pinching out, another method of pruning. Annual pruning, coppicing, or the pollarding, right? Yeah, so we end the pinching out. Now the pinching out, like for example, in this case, if I wanted to call out the pinching out in this one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove this bud, isn't it? At the top. So nikitoa ile, at this moment I've carried out the pruning, and that method I've called it the pinching out. So what is going to happen with this one, it is going to minimize the vertical growth, and then it is going to have the lateral growth. Even this other one, if I don't want it to continue growing upwards, nitaikata tu pale hivyo, that is pinching. So it is going to grow horizontally, isn't it? Not vertically. Now, when it comes to plucking table formation, the best height for plucking tea, we have two methods of plucking table formation. We have one that is called formative pruning, and then we have the other one which is called pegging method. How many? Which one? Formative and pegging. The pegging method. Those are the two methods that are going to be involved in making a plucking table in tea. Formative, and then we have the pegging method. Now, when you talk about the formative, is hereby you are going to allow this tea. Now, if we have transplanted, like for example, if this was tea, and then we transplant it into the seed bed. In formative pruning or formative plucking table formation, what is going to happen is we are going to be cutting this tea at a certain age. So we are going to allow it to grow in formative. Then when it attains a certain stage, let's talk for example, maybe it has attained that stage, we are going to cut it, isn't it? That one is going to be formative. Now in this case, we are going to be avoiding vertical growth, and we are going to allow the lateral growth of these branches. That is informative. Then once it starts growing again, we cut. Once it starts growing again, we cut. At the end, you're going to realize the branches are going to be growing horizontally. The branches are going to be growing not vertically. So once we have attained the plucking table, maybe if that day we have been cutting it, and then we want this one to become our plucking table at this level, then at that moment, that is where you are going to start picking tea, isn't it? That is in formative pruning. But now this method is mostly discouraged, and many farmers don't practice it. Many farmers don't practice formative table formation. Reason being, it takes a lot of time before a plucking table has been attained, isn't it? It is going to take a lot of time. So most of the farmers are going to practice what we call pegging method. That is in the formation of the plucking table. Now in the pegging method, that's where we are going to use now the pegs. We are going to use the pegs. Maybe somebody can find a peg for us. Yeah, if like for example now we have this tree. When you talk about a peg, it's a hook. We have a hook like this one. So this one already has made a peg, isn't it? We have a peg. Now we have the three methods that farmers use when they are the pegging method. Three methods of pegging. That is in tea. Which one? One method. One is when we are going to use parallel sticks and the pegs. Now parallel sticks, they are just like this. These are parallel sticks. So we have the parallel sticks and then the pegs, isn't it? Now in that method, if this is our tea, and we want to use the parallel sticks and a peg, what we are going to do is, if these are the branches, isn't it? We are going to get these branches. We get the branch of another tree, and then we are going to place these phytos above them, isn't it? So this one is using the parallel sticks and the pegs. So tunaekelea hivi vijiti. So itakuwa imelalia one branch, imelalia branch of another tree, another one, and then this other side still tufanye the same, isn't it? Then these branches, we are going to use the pegs. So tunakuja, tunaeka this our peg here. Tunakuja, tunaekelea our peg. that one, and then this other one also tunaweka the pegs. That one is use of the parallel sticks and then the pegs. Then we have another method. We have the individual pegging method, or the individual pegs. Now, when we are using the individual pegs, that's when now we are going to use a peg for every branch. So we are going to have many pegs. Remember, when we are using the parallel sticks, that one you are going to use fewer pegs. But when you are using the individual pegs, that way now every branch itakuwa na peg yake. So unaekea ile, this other branch, if there are about 3 branches, you are going to use separate pegs, isn't it? That one is use of individual pegs. Another method, use of ring and pegs. Use of ring and pegs. Now, when we want to use the rings, we can make them by the use of the bamboos, or we can use them by use of the soft branches. Isn't it? Tutengeneza soft branches, then tunatengeneza a ring which is round. Then if this tree or this tree has about 4 branches, tutaekelea ile ring pale. The ring will be lying on the 4, or that is on the 4 branches. And then now you are going to peg that ring using the pegs, isn't it? It is going to be similar to the parallel sticks and the pegs, only that now this one is going to be ring, this other one is going to be parallel sticks. So those are the various methods of pegging. We have mentioned them. One, using of individual pegs. That is one method of pegging. Another method of pegging we have mentioned. Use of a ring and the pegs. Another method of pegging. Yes, use of parallel sticks and a peg. So once we have done that, what is going to happen now, the tea plantlets are going to start having horizontal or lateral growth. So instead of growing vertically, itaanza kwenda sideways. And with the time, you are going to realize that tea, while it is growing, haiendi vertical, inaenda tu horizontally until a table has been formed. Once a table has been formed, now other practices are going to follow. Other practices are going to follow. One practice is what, remember, after we have pegged, we are going to be doing a practice that we call tipping. Tipping. Now, tipping is when we are removing a bud and the 2 leaves. Like, for example, when we are plucking the tea, we are removing a bud and so when we have pegged, you are going to realize there are some branches which are going to be growing vertically. So at certain heights, tunakuja tunakata tu, isn't it? Tunakata 2 leaves and a bud. That one we are going to call it tipping. And what we want to do is we want to maintain that tea at the plucking table. When we are calling out tipping, we use a parallel phytos. Of course, we are going to demonstrate it when we get to. Let's proceed. Let's proceed. There are some of us who have never had an access to meet tea, isn't it? Yes. So how many have never seen tea? They have come to see tea here, isn't it? Yes, how many don't know even to pick tea? Yeah. So, of course, we are coming from the nursery part, and we've seen what happens. So this tea, it began from the nursery, isn't it? Now, when we want to plant this tree, because this is a mother plant, if you took this one, we cut a vizuri, this one, and then we end upande kwa zile sleeves. You plant this one in a sleeve. What will happen? This one is a vegetative material, isn't it? When you plant it in that sleeve, it is going to develop roots, and eventually it is going to become a 3 seedling, right? So using these ones, we can be able to get many seedlings as you have been covering on the vegetative. But remember, of course, we consider as the bud. It must have a bud. So this one, if you took this one and then you put it in a sleeve, it is going to grow. After growing, we have the nursery management practices that we are going to carry out, which are some of the nursery management practices that we carry out. Nursery management practices. 1, roguing. Roguing. What is roguing? Uprooting and destroying infested. Okay, that one is 1. Another nursery management practice that we carry out. thinning, which we are going to be uprooting the excessive seedlings. We have mulching. We can carry out mulching. We can gap if we have the lost seedlings, watering, pest and disease control, and all that. So after you have carried all those practices to those plants and they have become the seedlings, now we bring them now to the seed bed. Now this one is a tea plantation, and this is a seed bed. These ones, they were transplanted. Now this tea has been, it had a certain height, just like that other one. But what usually happens is after picking tea, maybe for about 2, 3 or 4 years, what usually happens is they prune it back again, isn't it? So inakuja inakatwa yote. Sometimes you're going to find even hata ina this. So kama hii chai ilikuwa imekatwa. Sawa sawa. So it is going to grow afresh again, and then of course it is going to be having higher productivity kuliko ile ambayo ijakatwa pale. So this one, the productivity of this one is going to be higher. But all those practices that we have carried, the formative, already the formative tea plucking table has already been established. So the plucking table iko ile size ya ile nyingine. So it will grow up to a certain height. Italetwa mpaka to a certain height as it keeps on being plucked, plucked. Once it has attained a certain height, that is going to be about maybe 2, 3 or even 4 years, then itakatwa tena, irudi hapa tena. Sawa sawa. Now, tipping, that was during the plucking table establishment. That's when they carried out tipping. Now, during the tea pruning, how is it plucked? How do you pluck the tea? Because this is the tea that is plucked. Hii ndio tunakunywa kule nyumbani. How is it plucked? Wale wenye wajaona ikikuwa plucked wakuje pale. It is plucked. How many leaves? 2 leaves and a bud, isn't it? So during the picking of the tea, you're going to find most of the farmers. No, pick very fast. So you can see, you can look at my ones when I'm picking this tea. So I'm taking 2 leaves and a bud. Wale wanajua kuchuna tuonyeshe wengine how it is done. Tuingie tuonyeshe wale wengine. So you can see we have 2 leaves. Every leaf that I'm taking, it has 2 leaves and a bud. Isn't it? Everyone has 2 leaves and a bud. Yes, just a minute. Let me see for the ones who have picked already. Those who know how to pick it. Yes. Around the administration. So during the picking, we pick 2 leaves and a bud, and you've seen them when they are being picked. And then of course they have the yellow bags and the curlies, isn't it? So it is put there without compressing it. You are not supposed to compress it. That is to prevent the fermentation and such, and even to facilitate proper aeration. And then after that, you are going to take it to the tea buying centers, isn't it? In the tea buying centers, what happens? It is going to be weighed and finally taken to the factory for processing, whereby now you are going to take it as tea, isn't it? Yes. Now let's proceed to that other one, the one that has not been brewed yet, and then we see the difference. Yes. Sorry, without taking the hands.
Tuende mbele yangu mimi sasa. See it, see it.
Pamoja na Mackenzie.
Anaona hadi nini? Mpokeza tena zoom man. Wewe. Na kuna koje na shi. Anasema tufanye distributed. Uski mimi zenye hapa ni dosi. Asuni huko. Unanga nyama huko. Na huko na mbogiriri.
Nyama na kiaji.
Ni hadi siona kama majani.
So if you try to look at this tea, you're going to find it as a difference with that other one where we are coming from, isn't it? Meaning, this one was brewed before that other one. So already this one is at if we decided to pick from that other side, we are betting so much, isn't it? We are betting low, but in this other one, at least the plucking table, this is now what we are calling the plucking table formation. So you want to be plucking at a certain height. If we want to allow this tree to grow, and then we have the plucking table at this height, we can. How we are going to do that one? We are going to allow vertical growth of all these trees, isn't it? And we allow it to grow vertically, and then definitely when it has attained this height, we are just going to start treating it at that point, or we are going to be pruning it at that point. So this one has formed already a plucking table. It will be picked maybe for about 2 or 3 years, and then also it is going to be fruit back again, just like that other tree which is there. It is because of the jua, isn't it? At this moment, the tea factories, the production is low. Wakati kuna jua sana, wakati kuna baridi sana, what usually happens is the production inakuwa chini. Ukinyesha, once it has rained, you're going to realize the production is going to increase, isn't it? So during the picking, like in this other one again, wale wanajua kutuna, what do you usually do? When you are picking, we don't only pick. You pick 2 leaves at a bud, and then also you are removing, unaenda ukiondoa hii miti, isn't it? Yeah. So let's pick. Let's pick this.
I think it overheat from the CPU, so it's tulia man.
I don't have it.
Unaiba mbele ya watu wengi. Kule John.
Unanionyesha mama wangu.
Mmoja.
Gangster kabisa.
Sitaka YouTube. Acha na gani. Sitaka YouTube.
You cannot say there is no tea, John. You're not serious. Because there is tea all over. Yeah, so there's some who have known how to speak. 2 leaves at a bud. 2 leaves at a bud. 2 leaves.
Iko kitu maana unajiongeza kwa hiyo. By the way, niliambia mmoja wao kuhusu YouTube channel hii. Sasa naweza kuwa na watch. Ndio shit.
Let me see. Ryan. See? Yeah, 2 leaves at a bud. 2 leaves at a bud. But you see now, this one is clear. And remember, also when we are picking tea, we don't pick too young, isn't it?
Yes.
They're too young. Reason being, they are of low quality. They are of low quality. So we are going to pick the tea that are at least grown. I feel like this one is at least that's grown.
Kama mimi sijui mnafanya nini, mimi nachukua
Two leaves at a bud.
Mose mnakaribia huko sana mwana.
Makinzi anafaa kufanya bidii.
Bro, unajua kitu inaenda YouTube wewe?
So lazima kuwa na jokes kidogo.
Bro, na kwa kini?
They have no idea what that is. Unaona nani anasema kushika
Naji video nenda.
Once you have gone to the tea production centers or the tea buying centers, when it is taken even to the factory, we have even the quality assurance. The quality assurance. So those ones, they are going to be maintaining the quality to ensure that even the tea that has been processed is of high quality. So, is this one a quality tea? No. This one is not a quality tea. So you are not supposed to dip this one. Yeah? The big leaves. Which ones? No, like now these ones they are overgrown. These ones they are overgrown. So these ones they cannot make a good quality tea. So we don't pick this. We only pick the two leaves at the back, and this is a quality tea. So those is this one a quality? No. This one is not a quality, isn't it? So whoever has been picking this one is not quality. We're supposed to have two leaves at the back. So if we collected all this tea and it is taken to the tea buying centers, and then it is weighed and then taken by the lorries to the factory, then of course it is going to follow all the other processes, isn't it? The weathering processes, and then after that one it is going to be processed, and then finally it is going to be delivered to us to be tea. So at least, even the ones who never interacted with the tea, right now they can be confident. At least they have interacted with the tea, isn't it? Now this one in mrefu sana. So we break that. Tunakuwa tumeachwa na something like this one. Here inakaa ni mrefu sana. We pick a size. This leaf is overgrown, isn't it? So we don't pick also this one. We can break it, and then we are left with the size. So all that one, finally it will be processed, and then we can have the tea for drinking. So that is from the raising of the tea in the nursery, coming to all the way to this level. We establish a plucking table. We have the two methods. Which are those? Two methods of plucking table formation: formative and pegging method. Three methods of pegging. We have use of a ring, barrel sticks, and then we have the individual petals, isn't it? Yes. And then from that one, now of course you're going to call out the dipping, and the tea is going to be ready to be picked. We pick two leaves and a bud, taken to the tea buying centers, weighed, taken to the factory, processed, and then we take it as tea, isn't it? Yeah, so that is all about the tea production. Yes.